Former media boss Jimmy Lai found guilty under national security offenses. Lai's legal team says it needs time to review the judgment before taking next steps. And Australia looks into tighter gun laws after Bondi Beach's mass shooting. Hello and welcome to TVB News. I'm Melissa Hekalea. The Court of First Instance handed down guilty verdicts in the landmark national security trial of Jimmy Lai Chi-ying. The 78-year-old former media tycoon was described as a mastermind under all three charges, including 1 count of conspiracy to publish seditious materials and 2 counts of conspiracy to foreign collusion. The mitigation hearing is set for January 12. Samantha Lee reports.
Escorted by the police, founder of the now-defunct Next Digital Jimmy Lai departed from the Lai Chi-ko Reception Center at around 7 a.m. and arrived at the West Kowloon Law Courts. The case was handled by 3 designated judges, Esther To Lai Ping, Susana Maria de Amada Remedios, and Alex Lee Wai Tang. It took To almost an hour to read part of the 855-page verdict. The judgment quoted extensively from Lai's WhatsApp and Signal messages and evidence from several prosecution witnesses, which the court said was credible. The court found Lai's evidence to be contradictory, inconsistent, evasive, and unreliable at times. Judge To said it is clear that Lai harbored his resentment and hatred of China for many years, which is evident in his live chats and media interviews. To said Lai had extended a constant invitation to the U.S. to help bring down the Chinese government. Evidence was cited from former publisher of Apple Daily, Chen Kim-hung, who turned prosecution witness. Chen's evidence suggested that Lai initiated the One Hong Kong and One Letter to Save Hong Kong campaign to then U.S. President Donald Trump in a bid to call for sanctions against the Chinese Communist Party. The judge noted that another accomplice witness, Chen Chi-wah, and wanted activist Fin Lau Cho-tik met with Lai in Taiwan in January 2020. During the meeting, Lai told them they needed to unite different sectors, including legislative, international, and street fronts, the so-called the three forces. Lai said it was only by combining these forces that they could achieve China implosion, the collapse of the economy and the political regime. After the national security law came into effect, the court found there was evidence that Lai continued to express an anti-China stance by adopting a more indirect and subtle strategy and by toning down his rhetoric as seen from the editorial of Apple Daily. Having considered the evidence, the court ruled that Lai is guilty of all 3 charges. Collusion with foreign forces carries a maximum sentence of life imprisonment.
In the courtroom, Jimmy Lai appeared in a grey suit jacket wearing a pair of glasses. He waved to the people in the public seating. His family members, including his wife and son, smiled back to him. Samantha Lee, TVB News.
The police force's National Security Department said evidence presented in court during Jimmy Lai's trial indicated he was the driving force behind the violence during the 2019 riots. This, as Secretary for Security Chris Tang hopes the verdict will give young people imprisoned for rioting in 2019 and their families a sense of relief. Timothy Lee tells us more.
Chief Superintendent Steve Lee of the Police Force's National Security Department said the verdict on Jimmy Lai proved that his testimonies were contradictory during the trial and stressed Lai committed a long list of crimes. Lee added that Lai tried to shift his responsibilities to others, particularly his staff, and often used press freedom as an excuse for his illegal activities.
The evidence adduced in the trial established that during the period of the violence, the Apple Daily, under the direction of the Lai, have launched a number of programs to attract more people, more young people to participate in the demonstration. He is the primary indicators of the violence.
He criticized the former media mogul for using youngsters as tools for his anti-government goals, which ended future career paths for scores of young people. Chief Superintendent Steve Lee of the police's National Security Department welcomed the verdict of Lai's landmark trial. He further criticized certain Western media outlets of reporting Lai's allegedly declining health over the course of the trial as a means to slander the city's authorities. Meanwhile, Secretary for Security Chris Tang hopes those in prison for participating in the anti-government riots and their families would feel a sense of relief upon hearing the verdict. Responding to the Hong Kong Journalists Association's comments about someone in the news sector losing his freedom, Tang emphasized the case had nothing to do with freedom of the press. Timothy Lee, TVB News.
Chief Executive John Lee says he welcomes the court's verdict and that the ruling safeguards the city's core values. The verdict has drawn reactions from a number of countries, including Britain, where Jimmy Lai is a citizen. Mimo Singhai reports.
Speaking to the media before his departure to Beijing, Chief Executive John Lee said he welcomed Jimmy Lai's guilty verdict. He said that Lai had exploited Apple Daily to deliberately stir up social conflicts and incite hatred, while calling for foreign sanctions on China and Hong Kong. Separately, a government spokesperson said that the court's verdict is recent and well-founded. The spokesperson said the ruling fully demonstrates that the court arrived at a verdict in strict accordance with the laws and evidence, free from any interference and entirely devoid of political considerations. In a commentary, Beijing's Hong Kong Macau Affairs Office, or HMO, said Jimmy Lai was the mastermind and main participant of a series of anti-China and anti-Hong Kong events. HMO said it resolutely supports the SAR government in fulfilling its constitutional responsibility of safeguarding the national security by convicting Lai. After the ruling, Lai's wife and son came out of the court building. Next to them was Cardinal Joseph Zen. They did not answer questions from the press. Meanwhile, Lai's defense lawyer Robert Pan said he would need some time to study the lengthy judgment before deciding if they would appeal. When asked about Lai's health condition, Pan did not provide any comments but said the public could see his spirit in the courtroom earlier. Britain's Foreign Secretary, Yvette Cooper, said the UK condemns the politically motivated prosecution of Lai. She said the British authorities will continue to call for Lai's immediate release and full access to independent medical professionals. Australia said it is deeply concerned by the guilty verdict. It said the authorities will continue to raise human rights concerns directly with the Hong Kong and Chinese governments. Mimo Singhai, TVB News.
Australian Prime Minister Anthony Albanese on Monday proposed tougher national gun laws after a mass shooting targeted a Jewish Hanukkah celebration on Sydney's Bondi Beach, leaving at least 15 people dead as well as one of the gunmen. Tracy Furness reports.
Australia's national flag and the Aboriginal flag flying at half-mast alongside each other on the Sydney Harbour Bridge. The usually busy Bondi Beach deserted a day after a father and son opened fire on a group of Jewish people celebrating Hanukkah, killing 15 and wounding more than 40 others. One gunman, a 50-year-old man, was fatally shot by police. Australian Prime Minister Anthony Albanese paying his respects to the victims by laying flowers at Bondi Beach's pavilion, then talking to police and forensics teams. Albanese said he would ask Cabinet to consider limits on the number of weapons permitted by a gun licence holder and how long a licence should last. Australia is already among the toughest in the world regarding gun laws.
The government is prepared to take whatever action is necessary. Included in that is the need for tougher gun laws. And this afternoon at 4 o'clock I will put on the agenda of the National Cabinet tougher gun laws, including limits on the number of guns that can be used or licensed by individuals. A review of licences over a period of time. People's circumstances change. People can be radicalised over a period of time. Licences should not be in perpetuity. And checks, of course, making sure that those checks and balances are in place as well.
Thank you.
One witness described the scene just before the gunfire started.
The event was very happy moments. Like I have opportunity to meet the Jewish communities in Sydney. I heard the gunshot. I thought it just firework, so I just come closer just because I was a bit not in the center, so I just come to the center and look around, and then I see people moving around. And so I hear five shot in, and then I didn't think it's a fire, it's a gunfire. So I just come closer to look what happened, and then I see someone on the ground with the blood. And that moment, I realized it's terror attacks against Jewish people.
Stories of bravery are also now emerging.
There are many, many stories of bravery from members of the community as well. And I really want to acknowledge the work that was done yesterday. We know that a number of people are alive now because of the actions of innocent bystanders. And I thank them for the work that they're doing.
Tracy Furness, TVB News.
The person of interest detained in connection with Saturday's deadly shooting at Brown University in the U.S. has been released. The individual was taken into custody at a Hampton Inn hotel in Coventry, Rhode Island, about 20 miles from Providence, where police officers and FBI agents remained Sunday. This hallway remains blocked off while police search the area. With the release of the person of interest, law enforcement are left without any known suspect. Officials are pledging to redouble efforts in the investigation, looking for video surveillance that could help pinpoint the killer's identity. The gunman killed 2 people and injured 9 at the Brown University campus. Renowned Hollywood director-actor Rob Reiner has died at the age of 78. His body was found alongside his wife Michelle's body at their home in Los Angeles. Homicide detectives are investigating the deaths after the LA Fire Department said it responded to a medical aid request. Upon arriving at the house, they found the 2 bodies inside. Tracy Furness has more.
Rob Reiner and his wife Michelle Singer were found dead Sunday at their home in the Brentwood neighborhood of Los Angeles. The Los Angeles Fire Department said it responded to a medical aid request shortly after 3:30 in the afternoon and found 78-year-old Reiner and 68-year-old Singer dead inside their home. The Los Angeles Police Department said they will investigate their deaths.
At this time, the Los Angeles Police Department is not seeking anyone as a suspect or as a person of interest or in any other manner, and we will not be doing that until we conduct our investigation and we move forward. There are going to be many family members interviewed. I'm not going to confirm whether someone's being interviewed at this time or not. We're going to try and speak to every family member that we can to get to the facts of this investigation.
Rob Reiner was an acclaimed director and Emmy winner. His works included some of the most memorable movies of the 1980s and 90s, including This Is Spinal Tap, A Few Good Men, When Harry Met Sally, and The Princess Bride. His role as Meathead in the 1970s TV classic All in the Family, alongside Carol O'Connor's Archie Bunker, catapulted him to fame. His success and influence touched many in Hollywood, and the reaction on social media saw an outpouring of affection for Reiner and his vast body of beloved work. Son of comedy legend Carl Reiner, Rob had been married to photographer Michelle Singer Reiner since 1989. The two met while he was directing When Harry Met Sally. Reiner was previously married to actor-director Penny Marshall and adopted her daughter Tracy Reiner. Reiner turned 78 in March. Tracy Furness, TVB News.
Still ahead, Ukraine drops offers to drop NATO goal as Berlin peace talks begin. And Hong Kong-based companies making inroads into Vietnam's business landscape. Welcome back. Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky voiced readiness to drop his country's bid to join NATO in exchange for Western security guarantees. However, he rejected the U.S. push for ceding territory to Russia while in Berlin for talks with American envoys on ending the war in Ukraine. Daniel Rao tells us more.
European leaders are expected to cement support for Ukraine as it faces Washington's pressure to swiftly accept a US-brokered peace deal to end the war with Russia. After Sunday's talks in Berlin between US envoys and Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky, Ukrainian and European officials are set to continue a series of meetings in an effort to secure the continent's peace and security in the face of an increasingly assertive Russia. Zelensky sat down Sunday with US President Donald Trump's special envoy Steve Witkoff and Trump's son-in-law Jared Kushner in the German Federal Chancellery in the hopes of bringing the nearly 4-year conflict to a close. After the 5-hour meeting, the US government said a lot of progress was made. Earlier in the day, Zelensky voiced readiness to drop his country's bid to join NATO if the US and other Western nations give Kyiv security guarantees similar to those offered to NATO members. However, Ukraine continued to reject the US push for ceding territory to Russia. Russian President Vladimir Putin wants Ukraine to withdraw its forces from the part of the Donetsk region still under its control among the key conditions for peace. Zelensky emphasized any Western security assurances would need to be legally binding and supported by the US Congress. German Chancellor Friedrich Merz earlier warned the decades of the Pax Americana are largely over for Europe. Pax Americana refers to the US's post-war dominance as a superpower that has brought relative peace to the globe. Merz warned Putin's aim is a fundamental change to the borders in Europe, the restoration of the old Soviet Union within its borders. Putin has denied plans to attack any European allies. Dan Orell, TVB News.
Former district councillor and activist Andrew Chiu, who was sentenced to 7 years in prison for the 35-plus conspiracy to subvert state power, was released early from prison. In an interview with TVB News, he said during his imprisonment he read books on national development and has since changed his values. Timothy Lee reports.
Andrew Chiu was imprisoned for conspiring to subvert state power through organizing the unofficial legislative primary elections in 2020. He was listed as one of the key figures as a result of good behavior, and after around 5 years in prison, he was released more than 2 years early at the end of last month. Now much slimmer, having lost 60 pounds, he expressed gratitude to the Commissioner of Correctional Services for believing in his determination to repent. He said he read a lot on China's development while in jail, including China's national policy documents issued by the State Council and President Xi Jinping's speeches on the Belt and Road Initiative. Chiu said he hopes he can serve as a role model, especially for young prisoners convicted of national security-related crimes. He said he disapproved of violence even during the anti-extradition bill protests, especially when an elderly man was set on fire after arguing with the protesters. He said the whole situation was out of control and was terrifying. Chiu said events starting from the extradition bill controversy to the anti-government riots and to the primary election were all scheme manipulated behind the scenes by individuals with ulterior motives. He now wants to sincerely apologize to the country, to Hong Kong, and to the public for his mistakes. He said that while imprisoned, he was unable to see his father, who was suffering from cancer, one last time before his father died. Timothy Lee, TVB News.
In the third episode of our series Visions of Vietnam, a Hong Kong-run company is reshaping Vietnam's convenience store landscape, blending local food culture with distinctly Hong Kong flavors. The result is a brand that has grown into Vietnam's largest convenience store network by number of outlets. Jackie Lin went to take a look.
The familiarity of a modern retail chain, from the neatly organized shelves to the carefully curated product mix. Run by a Hong Kong company, this convenience store chain in Vietnam boasts more than 500 outlets across the country, commanding the largest market share nationwide at around 40%. Apart from introducing Hong Kong-style dim sum, its hot snacks are reimagined with the flavors of Hong Kong hot pot, with some Vietnamese specialties, these freshly made banh mi prepared to order. They also come with cafe-style seating areas, both outdoors and on the upper floor. The head of the company, T.C. Chang, says the group aims to expand the network to 1,000 stores within the next 5 years. Chang says from finance to IT systems, the logistics expertise and management know-how of his Hong Kong parent company played a crucial role in helping the brand gain a foothold in Vietnam. Chang also admits expanding operations in a developing economy comes with its share of challenges, including navigating regulations and its infrastructure. This as he knows that power shortages can be a concern, especially when convenience stores operate 24 hours a day. Still, he has faith that infrastructure will gradually improve as the country develops.
This convenience store chain also aims to introduce more AI technologies in 2026 in a bid to streamline its logistics and store ordering processes.
Elsewhere in Vietnam's food and retail scene, this pizza chain with more than 100 outlets nationwide is also run by a Hong Kong executive.
The important is to give them a foundation or an environment to learn that will be able to differentiate Hong Kong corporation with the local companies. And of course, like what I say, when you have a similar culture, and I think it is much easier to work together and be able to understand each other better.
He says Vietnam's ethnic Chinese community also gives the market an edge over some other Southeast Asian economies. Jacqueline, TVB News, Vietnam.
That is the news. Thanks for watching. Pearl Magazine is up shortly. See you then.